investigations that have been done on the cutaneous microbiome have already at the beginning identified the microbiome to be pretty stable over time. So that means that healthy skin and the healthy microbiome have an interdependence, and disturbances that happen will lead to disease more or less. So that means once skin is inflamed, to just change the microbiome may not be enough to really readjust the situation. So that means in case of mild inflammation or in case of preventing relapses, I think manipulating the microbiome is much more promising. But on the other hand, it will never replace topical corticosteroids in the treatment of the disease. So we have to be really sure that when we look at these type of studies, we see its limitations. For example, the study from Richard Gallo on the antibiotics from the Staphylococcus hominis, that can reduce Staph aureus. Yes, this is true, and it was nice work, and they could transplant this onto the skin and really see the reduction of Staph aureus. But open questions are, can this really stay on the skin and really play, the regulator of the microbiome? I don't think so. It will be a transient population, probably, and it will get lost over time. So either we reconstitute this regularly, or we have to find other means of readjusting the microbiome. Also, when we look at the studies that transplanted the Roseomonas onto the skin, this was a study that didn't have a control group, so it was not placebo-controlled. It was just single arm, and it shows that it gets better. But we know from many studies that the placebo group also gets better, sometimes a lot better. So this is not a controlled study, and we can say little about the real relevance of these findings. I think it's important to publish this and to show it's possible, but the next step will be to really have two groups, have a blinded fashion trial where you really compare with and without this additional bacterium placed on the skin. Is there a real difference? Regarding our study on the lysates, I think it's doable, because you don't need to grow bacteria, you don't need to put live bacteria on the skin, but you put lysates that can be produced in large-scale fashion. But here you would need to also replace it constantly to have this switch ongoing. You will need to understand that also here it will not be highly inflamed skin that you can treat. You can treat mildly inflamed skin. You can also use this to prevent relapses, stabilize the skin on the barrier level of microbiome, but it will not replace real anti-inflammatory treatment. So there's clear limitations, in my view, on what the intervention on the microbiome level can really do for the skin condition. I think prevention is the best option. Mild inflamed skin can also still be tackled, I think, but as soon as you have strong inflammation, you will need anti-inflammatory treatment. Maybe you can add on microbial interventions and as a secondary intervention to avoid the relapse after good anti-inflammatory treatment. But these kind of trials have to be cleverly designed, and then we have to wait for the data to be able to really judge.